Good day. I'm Sir Frosty, and today I'm going to show you how to play my game True Heroes. You can follow along in the rulebook, and I'm going to begin in the setup section. So first things first is to split into two teams. You can have anywhere from 2 to 8 players, and you can have a 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, 4v4 scenario. So today I'm going to show you the example of a 2v2. So I'm going to press that button, and then it's going to get rid of um, some of the sets. There are 24 sets. A 2v2 scenario uses 12 sets. So it shuffled 12 sets and it gave me um, 3 random cards, one from each component pile. A body component, movement component, and accessory component, as you see here. This is my hero sheet. These are my pawns and dice and stars, and I'll get into all that in a second. But first we have to make the board. We have to set up the board. So if you're on Tabletop Simulator, you can just use the default board, or you can press F and randomize the tiles. There are 4 terrain types. So you have the green, which is the woodland, the blue is the ocean, the gray is the mountain, the empty space is the void. And when you move your characters, you can't move on the void space. Um, so if you're a more advanced player, or you're ready to play it in a more advanced way, you can change the tiles to your liking. So when you draw the cards, you can hide it before you start playing, and you can determine how you want the board set up. So um, for my body component, I have +2 ocean damage and +2 ocean range. And for my accessory, I have +1 ocean speed. So for the board, I'm going to want a lot of ocean tiles. So I want to swap some of the tiles around and try to create a lot of ocean. So let me just swap it like this. The only thing that needs to stay the same are these 5 void tiles in the middle here. And you cannot change your opponent's side of the board. So if I'm on this side, I'm only going to be changing this side of the board. So I made a whole row of ocean, or pretty much, and we'll say that this is fine for now. Um, yeah. So now that the board is set up, and let's say that the enemies set it up in this way, we're going to draw. We already drew. Um, you can do the board or draw in any order, but we drew first, so that's fine. Each hero starts with 12 hit points. That's indicated by this dice. So once our turn starts, we can put it on the board, but this will be our pawn. And because we're in a 2v2 scenario, we'll take another dice. These will be our hero um, pawns, and then we'll have 2 starter sidekicks. So depending on how many players you have, you'll have different amount of sidekicks. So because we're in 2v2, we have 2 starter sidekicks. And same thing with our opponent. They'll have 2 heroes and 2 starter sidekicks. Okay, and then we'll roll any dice to see who goes first. So I'll be evens, the opponents will be odds, and we'll see who goes first. So I'll go first because it's evens, and I'm going to go to the next page and we're going to talk about the gameplay now. So because I'm going first, we could place our heroes and sidekicks anywhere on the board, and you can also have multiple pawns on one tile. So you can have up to 3 heroes on one tile, um, and you can have uh, and same thing with the starter sidekicks. We'll get to the other types of sidekicks later in the video, but for now, let's talk about what you're going to be doing on your turn. So every hero gets 4 four of these options. So you have an action option, a movement option, star option, and component option. You could take these in any order. And so we'll start by taking a star option. So a star option is either you draw a star or you move a star. And because it's our first turn and when we don't have any stars yet, we're going to draw a star. Um, and I'm going to put my components in the active slots of this top section is the active slot. So when I drew the star, I went to my storage, which is not active, and when I drew my starting components, they went to the active slot. And so I just did my star option. Now I'm going to do my component option. So my component option, I can either draw one random component from any of the three decks. I can trade my components with um, any hero. So I can trade them with my ally, or I can trade them with my enemies, as long as it's a consensual agreement and it is at least a one-to-one trade. So I can trade one component for one component. I could trade one component and one star for three components, or two components and one star. So yeah, those are the items. The stars and the components are the items, and you can trade any amount from your storage to any other hero. I can also buy a component from the bank. So I can sell like my star for a component, or I can sell a component for a star, and they can be from the bank. So let's say this card was in the bank. I'd be able to buy this for either a star or a component. And these are also in the bank, and I can buy them for a star component. Okay, so yeah, that's the component option. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna draw component, um, assuming that it was in the pile, not in the bank. I'd only be able to take from the bank if I expended one of my components or stars from my storage. So let's say I drew this from the body pile, um, and now for my action, I'd be able to use another component option. So for my action, I can either choose an additional item option, which is either a star option or a component option. I can double my movement speed, I can deal one damage at one range, or I could choose an action from one of my components, which is signified by this pink A on these cards. That would be an action I'd be able to use for my action option. The blue P is the passive ability. So the blue P is the passive, which is always active unless you swap your component and then it's in the storage, or if someone else tells you that you can't use it or something from one of their abilities. And then the pink A is the action. And so I wouldn't be able to use these actions unless I have the level up star in that slot. So I can use my action to use another star action and put the star here, and then I'd be able to use this action next turn because I already used the action to move the star this turn. And so if I wanted to get to level 2, I'd first need to get level 1 in all of my other components, and then I'd be able to go to level 2 in any of my components. Like I can level them up in any whichever component I want, as long as the previous level is leveled up in all three of these components. Okay, so that was all the options. I did my action, I did my star, I did my component. For the move, I already put my characters on the board for the first turn, so I can't move anymore. But for next turn, I'd be able to move one tile because everybody starts out with one speed. And then some components have additional speed, so like the Yeti has +2 mountain speed. So if I was in the mountains, I'd be able to move an additional 2. So um, when I'm in the mountain, I can use my one mountain speed to move, and then because I'm in another mountain, I can use another mountain speed to move, and then I can use my regular speed to move in any terrain. Okay, so that's the speed. The sidekicks, the starter sidekicks specifically, they have 12 HP, and they can move uh, once per turn, so they have 1 speed, and once per turn they can also deal 1 damage at 1 range. So let's get an enemy out here. If the enemy was here, I'd be able to attack this guy for 1 damage because he's within range. Um, so 1 range is just the surrounding tiles, basically. So if he was over here, it would be 1, 2 range I would need to hit this guy, or I can move closer and then hit him. Okay, so um, so that's pretty much that. And then I also want to talk about the set bonus. So you see here I have 2 surf cards. If I wanted to get the set bonus, I would need to find a third surf card, and it would go in this slot. And I would also need at least 1 level in each of my components, and then I'd be able to activate the set bonus. And so this set bonus is a passive ability that adds 1 target to any attack. So when I attack, I'd be able to attack. If my attack only targeted 1 opponent, then I'd be able to attack two enemies. Okay, so um, let's say this guy attacked my here. Well, let's say they attacked my hero. These guys are my starter sidekicks. Let's say they attacked my hero and they died. They're at 0 HP. There's no 0 on this dice, but let's pretend that it says 0 HP. This guy's downed. One of my either sidekicks or other heroes can get close and then heal the downed hero. So if I wanted to heal, I would expend 1 HP and 1 item. So this would go to the bank. And then I'd be able to heal. So now this guy's at 1 HP. Okay. So everybody has that passive. That is a universal passive that they can heal in 1 range for 1 item and 1 of their HPs. But let's say this hero didn't have an item to heal this hero. Then this hero would be able to use one of their items. Let's say that they had the item instead in their storage. They'd be able to expend an item to be able to be healed. Even though this hero's healing, this person can use this person can expend the item because they're the one being healed. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Um, I also want to talk about these sidekicks here, or some abilities have passives that can be placed. Like there's one ability that you can have a portal, so I'll use this to signify a portal, and then you'd be able to teleport between these 2 points. Or let's say somebody else spawns some birds. I'll use this to be my bird, and um, and and I could use this to be some like other thing, like a UFO or something. So there's different abilities that have different sidekicks, and you can use these different pawns to signify where they're at. Um, Optionally, you can use dice to signify their, like if they have HP, like let's say this bird had 1 HP, then I can use that instead, or something like that. Um, you can get creative with it and play around with it to your discretion, but yeah, so we use dice to signify the HP and the pawns to signify uh, which team they're on based on the color and where they're located. Yep. So all the other rules are listed here, so you can read through this on your own, and you can join my Discord to leave any suggestions or comments or feedback, or any sort of feedback is welcomed. And thank you for playing, thank you for watching, and